Okay, let's just make sure. Yep, we're recording. Gotta record. Well, I'm not gonna bore you with the details, other than to say that this here poet is a revolution. It really is. It brings our, well, properly used that is. I don't mean as a way that Bayan people were to record things for posterity, even though, or for legal reasons, I actually think it is a good thing. Better than written documents, because we, as a race, contrary to the machine race, are actually equipped to not only produce but understand spoken language with all sorts of nuance and stuff like that, double meanings, and we also are able at the same time to realize that the way a person is looking at us, they won't look us in the eye. I won't us up. That means something. And when they're talking and talking and talking, and they just won't look you in the eye. There's all sorts of stuff that computers have been kind of convincing us we should do, just like the printing press convinced us that we should spend a lot of time on writing and text. And you know what? It's a good thing we do. Though, did old Gutenbergy baby, Johannes, or Joe Gutenberg, did he actually think that the printing press should be a replacement for people talking to each other? And how about Joe Text, text person? Who came up with text messages? I don't know. Did Joe text message come up with? Say, oh, let's use text so that people don't have to talk to each other. The phone is so 20th century, And, actually sitting around and talking, that's like from the Dark Ages. A lot of young people really don't know how to communicate other than in sort of formulaic ways. Yes, they could be in a group, but you see half of them on a thing there, and they're communicating with each other. They're actually in the physical presence of one another, but they're in this big group thing, Oh, we're speaking to all of our friends. Yeah, but what about getting together with somebody and becoming friends, like the kind of friends that, there's this little thing called text that does, in fact, have a lot to do with a lot in our lives, and it's not the only thing for sure, because there's other things like exploring and making music together, getting in trouble, checking things out, building cars, whatever. There's all sorts of reasons for people to get together. And text can help in many ways. Where would a car mechanic be if he couldn't look up the part number somewhere and or look up a diagram? Diagram is like text. Text is really important. However, who said it's a better way to communicate about in general? It's a replacement for the way we talk to each other. We feel lonely, so we can sit in our car and go, oh, smile. I see people sitting in their car. They're having a grand old time with people who they can't talk to in person. Maybe they can have sex with that person, but whenever they try to talk about certain things, we'll go, forget about it, baby poo. So anyway, this was supposed to be an Apple explanation. I used to call them Apple rants, but that was too explicit. We're just explaining something, and I'm starting to get bored with it. I've explained it so many times, and we have a lot in the archives. This is just, look at what's going on with these two monitors here. The FaceTime one, which I just discovered today. Went, oh, holy cow, you mean when I want to point to that window over there, I'm pointing to the window? See, if I'm looking down here and I point to the window's on that. Oh, come on. You see, I just did it. Never mind, it doesn't work. No, I know. Forget about it. Try it sometime. Compare the upper. If you're going to try to actually talk and do something, I mean, explain something, why don't you, what would be interesting is to fix your eyeglasses while you're looking at the screen instead of this. Try it with the bottom. Ooh, that's got a lot. That's why anything. Try to tie your shoes. Don't look at your hands. Look at what you're doing. What's there? Well, it's like a mirror. And for Apple, Apple. See the bottom? That's what QuickTime and iMovie have. Without the option of switching it around. Now, the people who made FaceTime did what made sense. The people who did iMovie and QuickTime did the opposite. And there's nothing to changing it around. It's not as if it's a big deal. What strange force is our Uncle Stevie? He's dead. He's just my age. He was in the same high school class as me. I mean, not literally the same year. So it got to me, actually. It really did get to me that he died at the same age as me. And I've got a lot of respect for him. But I know that there's something really different about Apple. And different is, in this case, is spelled W-R-O-N-G. Apple is playing its part in convincing us about why we should get into the Matrix. The Matrix is a place where people are happy with the explanations given to them. And whatever something inside their heart says, well, wait a minute, this is bullshit. This is not what's really happening. I'm in a pod. I mean, the people in the Matrix were brought to the point where they didn't know, although, some people sensed it. Something's wrong. This isn't right. This is bullshit. This is a whole facade. I'm living a frickin' facade. I'm a Potemkin village. I kind of would rather live who I really am, I think. Not like, what's his name? The guy, the bad guy, the turncoat. I keep forgetting the names of the different members of the crew. But, the one who makes a deal and says, okay, when I go back into the Matrix, and first of all, I'm going to assume that you, Agent Smith, are going to do what you say. I'm going to assume that. Which of them? Okay. So when I go back in, please I don't want to know that I'm a scumbag. That I killed all my friends. Don't want to know that. And I would like, though. I'd like to be somebody important, like an actor. Well, Ronald Reagan's greatest part was as president. He acted his part, and he acted well. And I have a lot of respect for the skills that he showed in doing so. And actually, I have developed grudging respect for the man, even though I hate his politics. And some of the stuff he did was clearly just booby. Although maybe he didn't know what was going on, like the Iran-Contra. Come on, anybody who calls himself an American and then sells arms to the Iranians, who are the guys who have threatened, who said death to, America. So, oh, come on. So that you can give money to these fascist, Nazi kind of guys who go around just shooting people in the head. Anybody who doesn't know about Iran-Contra, look at it. look it up because it's, oh, well, things like that don't happen. Well, excuse me, they do, and they're happening more and more. And if we just sit back and say, I don't want to know, too much information, we wind up the victims. We might, even if we might wind up the victims of, we will, always, we are always the victims. There are forces always stronger than us, always. That's part of life. And those of us who succeed in life are those who do not need heroin to accept the things that we cannot change. They don't need methamphetamines or working 1,000 hours a week and ignoring your family. They don't need that sort of stuff, or sex, or anything, any of the other power. They don't need power. People who say, oh, to have the courage to change the things that each of us know we can do, change. And to have the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Well, that takes time to learn it. And the only person who can teach it to you is you. Nobody knows more about what's right for you than you. Some people might have some perspective that they can share or experience that could be very valuable to you and which you can take into your decision-making process. Be open. Listen to people. People frequently do know things you don't know, and sometimes they're very relevant to yourself. But they can't know who you are at any moment. You can't know who you're going to be even a moment from now. All you can be is who you are right now. And the only time you ever have an opportunity to make a decision is now. Now. With that, I'm going to stop for today, and I'll speak to you later.